Okay, I want to do a quick video on the use of a MIDI capable controller to control some of the various functions on the Thetis software for Hermes Lite 2. So anyway, the first thing is that I want to, and I've presented this before, for about 30 bucks off AliExpress, I picked up this N3 from Mirabox, and it is a Stream Deck type copy, and it runs firmware called Screen Dock. So originally I had set this up to use keyboard mappings in Thetis. So if you, hold on, let me get over here. If you go into here, into the setup under keyboard, you can see that moving the VFO based on the position of the 10 digits that you're trying to change, whether it's hertz, 10 hertz, etc., etc. Then you also have key commands which will allow you to increase the band up and down, filter selection up and down, mode up and down, etc. But this is limited, and it's limited to a keyboard emulator. However, the old school sort of synthesized MIDI music, that whole standard has really evolved over the decades into like a full-blown communication protocol for various audio equipment, control panels. So that is MIDI, and that would be a different aspect of this under MIDI cat here in Thetis. So you would go here to configure MIDI. But okay, so what I want to do is I want to step over to the software for the N3 by Mirabox. And this is really hard to piece together, and it's not well documented. So basically, here is their program called Stream Dock, which is a play on Stream Deck by Elgato. So the thing is, if you go into plugins and search for MIDI, you will find that there is this Trevliga Spel plugin, MIDI plugin, which I have installed. Now, the MIDI plugin that is accessible through links from the Stream Deck software would be 3.1.0, but Trevliga has now got 4.0, I think, available. And there's a way to get that in there, and it expands on the control set, the control capabilities. So anyway, when you do this and install the plugin, what you see now under, so you have controls that you basically, let me close this down. So you've got all these different types of controls that basically, if you look at the device itself here, it's represented up here. And as you can see, this particular key right here, I don't have anything programmed into that. So the way that I would do this is, like, if I wanted to just do some regular keystroke command, I would drag under tool, I don't know, I guess where it'd be, hold on a second, maybe here. You know, you basically drag what you want and you drop it there, and then down here you get a bunch of configurations. So I don't want that. What I'm interested in is the MIDI functionalities. So you got the MIDI functionality for keys. So everything will be done basically off of the generic MIDI controls. So I would drop that there. Then I can configure all this to allow that particular switch to communicate back over to Thetis. The problem is, though, that the JSON file that runs this plugin is not configured to accept knob input. So you actually have to get in there and change the JSON to allow it to actually populate the MIDI options for the knob itself. But you can do that, and I guess if there's interest, I will like annotate the comments or the description of this video on how to do that. Anyway, so what I've done is I basically just set up the main VFO on this knob here. I've set the volume up here, and I've set the gain, I guess kind of the RF gain in the Thetis world on this knob, on this encoder here. I've got step up and step down on how much of a frequency change is implemented by each click of the encoder. I can cycle through the bands. I can cycle through the modulation modes, and then down here I can turn it on and off. I forget what I put here. I turned the digital noise reduction on and off. This I don't have populated yet. And the volume, instead of using Thetis's volume controls, I just went to the volume controls on Windows volume control because I wanted mute, and I couldn't figure out a way to do that through MIDI. So anyway, if you then go over and you configure MIDI, and so basically it finds your thing, it finds your controller. You also have to implement like virtual MIDI cables with this program called LoopMIDI. And then what you do is, like, for instance, in this case, let's say that I want to assign a MIDI function to this key right here. So the first thing I have to do is take a look at these. Well, let me go over here. So the MIDI commands that are available are here. If you look at the commands, you can swap VFO A to VFO B, B to A, etc. And if you look under this, you can see that there are a couple of hundred different things that you can map. So this is where you would map things, and there are buttons that you can map, and there are wheels or not or encoders which emulate the mouse wheel or conventional knobs. So basically, the difference between the wheel is that no matter if you keep spinning the encoder, it will act as the mouse wheel, and you'll keep moving and moving and moving. But if it's a knob, it has a fixed off point and a fixed maximum point in the rotation of the encoder. Then, so for example, I'll go through this really briefly. Let's say that I want to assign something, a switch in here. So what I would do is I would drag over this, and if you look at the red pointer there, that has to be sitting on the circle, because if you go here, you're not actually on the button. You're only on the button itself when you do that, and then you drop it and it doesn't go, and I'm not sure why. It's because maybe I held it for too long. Hold on, let's see where the heck. I'm not sure what's going on now. I guess I wasn't here somehow. You gotta have the plus up. Sorry, right there. Now it goes. Okay. I don't know what I want to add. let me just add on and off again. So type in a description on/off, button type push, it's a control change. Now the important thing is that you have to pick a control number. It's just an identifier to allow your list in Thetis to go to the assignment number, or the control number, which is the assignment number for that particular switch. So if you look here, apparently, like, I got all these things, and a bunch of them were pre-assigned for generic audio use. So for whatever reason, I'm just picking unassigned numbers, and I think that my highest number, I forget where it was, so I think I was at 27, maybe 27. And if you actually reuse these things, they interfere with each other. So I'm gonna go to 28 for this one. So I'm gonna set this to 28, and then that should be it. So then what I do is, once you have this key assigned, now to set it up in Thetis, you would go in here, and you're in this screen here. And what it wants you to do is press this button. So I'll press the button now, and you'll see what happens. It says that I operated one of the controls on my controller. Now I need to map it. So what I would do here is I would just give it my name again, on, off, even though this is a duplicate. The control type, in this case, I have button, knob, or slider. It's a button. And so, well, you know what? I have already used on, off, so I'm gonna do maybe RIT on, off. So I select RIT on, off, and done. Then I save it, apply it. Now what happens is that button should toggle RIT on and off, which I think that's down here. So you can see right there, I'm pressing the button and I'm toggling RIT on and off. So that was done through this N3, which was by Mirabox, which was never advertised to be a MIDI controller, just a keyboard emulator. But the Stream Deck plugin works just fine on this, and the Stream Deck plugin is crippled in that it can't handle the knob, so you have to modify a JSON file to allow the knob to actually come up in the MIDI selection when you're trying to assign MIDI commands to a knob. So overall, it's a little bit, it took a couple of days sort of to figure out how to get everything working, but eventually I have it working. So I hope this is somewhat helpful.